Hello, everyone. At this stage in the program, we want to take a moment to reflect back on the 6 principles that we've learned. These principles are the fundamental underpinnings of the Foundations program. And as a result, it's important that you not only be able to understand these ideas, but you should also be able to teach these principles to others as well. So let's take a moment and review these 6 concepts. The first principle is reciprocity. This principle teaches us the value of making an offer of something to a customer, which in turn creates a feeling of obligation on the part of the customer to return the favor in kind. People are obliged to give back to others who have given to them. You learned how offering something to eat or drink is one approach to using the principle of reciprocity. I love this study that speaks about how a waiter providing mints to a restaurant guest had a significant influence on the amount of the tip that they received. We know ourselves from the story I shared with you about Ethiopia giving money to Mexico after a terrible earthquake, that this principle of influence is long-lasting and is something people feel an obligation to live up to. The second principle is social proof. Dr. Cialdini shared with us how people decide what is appropriate for them to do in a situation by examining what others are doing. The idea here is that one fundamental way of how people make decisions as to what is appropriate is to look around at others. It's another shortcut for making decisions by using other people as a source of information. You would be a bungler of influence if you forgot to share with a customer that this is our most popular floor plan, or this is our most popular kitchen or bathroom feature. You learned how mentioning that Shea Homes receives many referrals activates this principle in the mind of consumers. This certainly is a strategy that we can use very often with customers throughout the sales process. The third influence principle we learned that enhances the trust of a customer is the principle of liking. The idea here is that to be able to have a customer hear our words, the customer must first like us. People prefer to say yes to those that they know and like. There are 3 things we can do to amplify the principle of liking. First is similarities. People like those that are like themselves. Second are compliments. We like people who like us. And third, we like people who cooperate with us, those who have a common goal with us. Keep in mind, liking is not simply a one-way street. A customer certainly is going to be more influenced by you if they like you. But if the customer feels that you like them, they will feel safe. They will trust you. They will feel they are in the hands of an expert that likes them. The first rule of sales is to come to like your customer. And the second rule is to get the customer to like you. The fourth principle of influence is authority. This is the idea that people want to follow the lead of legitimate experts. We know that people rely upon those with superior knowledge for guidance on how to respond. People seek cues of authority and judge the merits of a person and company based upon their credibility. Dr. Cialdini shared with us a study of how a person was dressed impacted the behaviors of others. He spoke about the study in which a man dressed professionally walked into traffic and people followed him. As we also learned, to be viewed as credible, the customer must see a demonstration of expertise and trustworthiness. One means we establish authority among consumers is by discussing the 4 key things that make Shea Homes different from others. Authority is something we can never assume is evident to others. That is, we need to be sure to share with each customer the authority of who we are as a professional in the industry. And we need to build the credibility of Shea Homes, our products, our trade partners, our architects, and our manufacturers. All of these items will enhance and capitalize on the principle of authority. The 5th principle, and perhaps the most influential principle, is commitment and consistency. Once people make a choice or take a stand, they will encounter personal and interpersonal pressure to behave consistently with what they have previously said or done. The example we saw was how a restaurant made a small change and how they asked people to call back if they are not going to show up for their scheduled reservation. This small request resulted in a significantly higher number of people feeling obligated to cancel a reservation. Commitments can be small, like a tie-down question, or it can be the ultimate commitment of purchasing the home. The principle is amplified by commitments that are actively made, publicly made, and voluntarily made. In using this strategy in our sales process, one means we get customers to make active, public, and voluntary commitments is by asking them to share with us what they're seeking in a home. This simple act of telling us this information forms a commitment that we can use throughout the presentation with the guest. Finally, the sixth principle of influence we learned was the principle of scarcity. We now know that opportunities appear more valuable when they are less available. Dr. Cialdini shared with us the example of how the Coca-Cola Company, who has spent billions of dollars on creating an identity with consumers, and then created a debacle when they introduced new Coke. As you know, people responded in great demand to the dwindling supply of classic Coke, which demonstrates the power of scarcity. Scarcity is amplified by framing things with lost language and noting the exclusive nature of the information. As we demonstrate specific features of our homes and home sites, we need to leverage the use of this principle by properly informing consumers that a feature or program is exclusive to our homes and that they will lose it if they purchase elsewhere. These 6 principles are of critical importance for your success as a new home sales professional. But we all know for these principles to work requires that we use them on a regular basis. I'm confident through practice and dedication that the use of these principles will improve your sales performance. We are grateful for your continued commitment. Thank you.